you're using to make that, to show that you're caring about that, to put that in place?
I try and notice the little things.
Yes.
So if somebody comes in and doesn't say good morning, for example, clocked, are they okay? Or if they're looking a bit sad, everything all right? So a quick message without embarrassing them in front of everybody. You okay? If you want to talk, I'm here. Or making the team a cup of tea. I try to, the whole incremental 1% change.
Yes.
I try to look out for those a little bit.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's a bit sharp on the phone, or they go, oh, for God's sake, and slam the phone down. Right, everything all right? That's not your normal style for that.
Yeah.
So just notice on changes to their normal style.
Okay. And are there any downsides to this approach? Because this involves quite a bit of time and effort on your part, doesn't it?
It does. And that's, so it's quite time intense. I do put myself at risk of being taken a bit advantage of.
Yes.
And that's when you have to put the brakes on. And when I would more than what we spoke about earlier is tip over to the autocratic piece. And I've got an example of that. I don't know if you...
Yeah, no, go through that.
So one of my members of my team was travelling with me in the States and his shoes broke. And he had a corporate card from the UK. And he said, I'm just going to use the corporate card to buy a new pair of shoes.
Yes.
No, you're not. So that's, for me, I think that was the goodwill spilling over a little bit too far, and we put the brakes on there. I said, absolutely not. You buy shoes, they're your shoes, they're not the company shoes.
Yes.
So please pay for them yourself. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a testing the water. So I think my style there does put me up for a bit of scrutiny there.
Yes.
And I try not to use that or go down that space too often. But yeah, time investment's the big one.
Yeah. So what's the impact in terms of time for you?
So if my team members need me or a team member needs me, I will put them first.
Yes.
Because I think my responsibility first and foremost is to them, which will mean that my work then gets done later.
Yes.
Or in my time. So yeah, there's a trade-off for me personally, absolutely. Or it'll spill over to the next day.
Yes.
And that's the choice I make.
Yes.
The choice I make.
But what you're saying is that if you take that balance of the time and effort that you put in versus the outcome for the team,
yes,
you feel that balance works for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely works. Yeah,
yeah. So it's your way of getting things to work effectively and to achieve the objectives.
Absolutely, and helping people feel that they have a voice, they have an opinion, they have a life, and just respecting and balancing those two together.
Yeah. So that work-life balance is important as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And Laura, again, never used to take a lunch break. Never. And I would say, Laura, I am going to force you out the door for at least 20 minutes. Haven't got time to take a lunch break. And I actually had quite a serious sit down with her, and I said, look, I can't have you sat at your desk non-stop from 8:30 till 6 p.m.
Yes.
That's longer than your shift, without any break. I said,
yes,
I'm not doing my job as your manager if I don't make you have a break.
Yeah.
And she now goes out for a walk every lunch.
Yes.
Which is really positive, and I encourage her to do that. And I said, do you know what? Some days it won't be possible, but where it is possible, give yourself the time.
Yeah.
And she does.
Okay. So it's beyond the task and results objective setting piece, isn't it?
Yes.
The way that you do that.
Yeah.
It's about the whole person.
Definitely. I look at the whole person for sure.
Yeah. And do you think that has any impact in terms of the end results for the team?
I think it's knitted the team together really nicely.
Yeah.
And I think it's created quite a nice, strong work ethic.
Yes.
Dynamic in the team, which is always good. And I think it's created a really great bond with, I'm struggling with this, can you help me?
Yeah.
And I see loads of, can I borrow you for 2 minutes? Yep, sure, give me 5 and I'm with you. And I hear loads of that. And I like that. Okay. I like that a lot.
Okay, that's great. Any other examples that you think particularly illustrate your approach?
I think my interviewing technique probably does.
Yes.
when I'm interviewing, my first and foremost, and although I'm at the very beginning of a potentially non-relationship, my first and foremost desire is to help somebody feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I get that it's a pretty scary situation. You're in a big scary building, you don't know anybody, you're up for scrutiny, and it's all the unnatural feelings that we all have when we're going in for an interview.
Yes.
And Lisa commented, and the reason I mention this is because Lisa on my team fed back on her interview our first interview I did with her, and she said, felt welcome, Jules, and I felt grateful that you helped me you got me a drink and we had a laugh before we got started. And I said, because I could see you were a bit stressed out, and I just wanted you to calm down and give me the best version of you.
Yeah.
And she said, I can't tell you how grateful I was for that.
Yeah.
And I think that again is the style at the beginning. I think I'd probably start quite early on to build the relationship.
Yes.
And I don't take that cold, candid approach of tell me the answers and I'm not going to show you any emotion on my face.
Yes.
I take it to a warmer place and think, do you know what? If we can help people relax and help people feel engaged, they're going to give me better answers and I'm going to get a better interview experience for them.
So it's a better interview both for the individual and for you, because you're getting better data.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Any other downsides you see of that very heavy focus on relationships in the workplace?
Downsides? I guess sometimes then you could miss deadlines or miss critical things that need to be done because you're focusing so heavily on the people. That's got its pros and cons in its own right, I think. But I think ultimately if a person needs you, they need you. And that's the end of the story. But so I guess there's that trade-off between missing your own work deadlines and the team's deadlines and missing other priorities because you're focused in on that one individual.
But for you, the balance would always be on the people side.
It would, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, great. So is there anything else on that you feel we haven't covered that you'd like to add at this stage?
I think probably the only thing I'd add, Hazel, is relationships abroad.
Yes.
So building my relationships particularly with the US, I found very different. And where the open, I know you know what I'm going to say here, the open, collaborative, jokey style that has worked a treat here, particularly with my team and the guys that I train, that I've had to really look at myself there when I'm abroad, particularly in the US, because they don't. I didn't realise in myself that I talk in complete acronym all the time. And that's this business. We love an acronym.
Yes.
And it needs explaining, and I need to be mindful of that in myself.
Yes.
And I also unwittingly talk quite colloquially.
Yes.
I just English banter.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily translate.
Yes.
So that has really affected how we build relationships over there.
Yes.
And often I've come away certainly from Chicago and felt not the same level of engagement and buy-in that I would have felt had I done the same session with a new starters here. And I just think, respectfully, that is down to cultural difference.
Yes.
And the way that people engage and the way that people go into a training room.
Yes.
And I've developed much more of a teacher style.
Yes.
And it's stand and talk rather than let's do a breakout for 20 minutes and discuss that.
Yeah.
They don't want... my observation is particularly Chicago. Let's say Philadelphia. But sorry, particularly Chicago aren't interested in discussions.
Yes.
Tell me what I need to do. Right, I'm going to give you this pen, and you are now responsible for writing what everyone else says down. So it's become much more guided in terms of how we learn.
Yes. So in that case, you're more formal, really, aren't you?
Yeah, much more formal. And I think they look to me to be more formal, Hazel. And they look to me to be more autocratic, dare I say. Yeah. I think historically that's what they've had in their classrooms. We were at university recently, and it's lecturer stands at the front and you take notes.
Yes.
And they come to a session expecting, with their notepads, expecting to take notes. When I give them a load of stars and ask them to prioritise stuff, they go, what? And I've really toned that down because I don't think it doesn't resonate with them. Yeah. It doesn't resonate with them. And big group training doesn't necessarily resonate so well too. So
those little star packs that we love having in our pocket just doesn't work in that case.
I've toned it right down.
So what the point that you're bringing out in that instance is around the fact that you have to adapt your style
Yes.
Because culturally it's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And when we launch in Asia and
yes,
different markets, it will adapt again.
Yeah. They may be different again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that was the only other one. I just thought
no,
it's a different engagement piece, definitely.
It's a very good one. Well, look, I'm going to switch off the tape.
Okay.
As I do that, I'll just say thank you very much for taking part.
It's a pleasure.
And for
Thank you
doing
for
it.
coming in.
I've just got one or two other pieces of documentation
Yeah.
I just want you to fill
Absolutely
out.
fine.
But we'll fill that out offline.
Perfect.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will switch these off now.